and welcome to the APLL Pulse podcast, where you can uncover new insights from the logistics and freight forwarding industry through the seasoned experts at APL Logistics, a global supply chain provider. We'll help you keep pace with the current topics impacting businesses and advance your logistics strategy. Well, hello, everyone. I'm April Chapman, your host, and I'm excited to welcome our guest, Eva James, to the podcast today. She helps lead our sustainability program and initiatives here at APL Logistics. Lately, we have been working together on a big project, and it's been great getting to know her. And I'm sure you are all going to enjoy this conversation. So, Eva, can you share a little bit about yourself with our audience?
Hi, everyone. Yes, like April said, my name's Eva. I do all things sustainability for APLL. I've been here for about 8 months. It definitely feels like 8 years, but 8 good years.
Yeah.
I live in the best city in the world, New York City. You can find me biking around. I play beach volleyball every weekend when it's not 20 degrees out. Now I'm also pursuing my master's degree from Columbia right now. And people really ask me, what on earth are you doing? What are you thinking? Why do you put yourself through school and a full-time job? And I say, well, sustainability is just not an issue that can be put on the back burner. You know, it's very urgent. So might as well try to make a difference as soon as possible. But I'm happy to be here.
I love that about you. And you're just a high energy person. You're a go-getter and you're going to go and get those things done.
I'm trying. Yeah.
You're trying. Okay. Well, let's jump into our topic today, which is sustainability. And I want to talk to you, just kind of get your take on things. So big picture, can you describe where you think the supply chain industry and sustainability intersect?
Yeah, well, both of these industries have just been shoved into the spotlight in the past 2 years. Ever since COVID hit, for the past 5-10 years, people have realized it's not just a fad. It's not going to go away. Mm-hmm. And I think that this intersection also will not go away. It's become apparent that, installing LED light bulbs or putting solar panels on roofs, that is really a drop in the bucket compared to the 80 to 90% of carbon emissions that come from just shipping stuff all over the globe. And it's just insane. The footprint is astronomical and the pressure is coming. It's coming from investors. It's coming from customers even. They're saying, I want a product that has the smallest carbon footprint. Maybe I don't want it shipped all the way from Siberia. Maybe I want it shipped from down the road. And that pressure is a good thing, though. Government entities, the regulatory bodies, they want companies to drastically reduce these emissions. And this means our industry, we just got to step it up. And I think APLL, we are stepping it up and we're in a great position to do so because we're really trying to integrate sustainability into what we already do. We're integrating it into our order management decision-making processes. And we're really here to support the world's top customers and top retail consumer and producers to really shift from shipping more to shipping more efficiently. So it's all about that environmental transparency.
Yeah, actually yesterday I was using an app for travel and TripIt. And now at the bottom, when you're planning your trips, it says what your footprint is going to be for these different ones. I was like, oh, that's cool.
You would be surprised how many people text me about that. They're like, yeah, I was booking a flight on Google Flights and now I can see that this one emits 14% less than this one. And it's awesome. And maybe someday that will get to the shelf level when you buy a box of cereal. Maybe this one's a little bit greener than this one.
Well, it is interesting because I think obviously moving in that direction, but especially when we look at the younger generation, right? And so I was listening to a podcast just yesterday and it was talking about how much the younger generation coming out of college is looking for those things and wants to. And when your buyers care, then everyone cares.
Yeah, that's when the change comes.
Because then it starts impacting the companies and it starts impacting the choices. And it's huge. It's got a lot of momentum, that's for sure. And it's good in a good direction. So in 2021, there was a survey conducted by the United Nations Global Compact, And it was a CEO study that was done on sustainability. This is an interesting statistic I read. 71% of respondents said that they are actively working to develop a net zero emissions target for their company. This is CEOs now. So what do you think? Is net zero a realistic goal in our industry?
Well, I think net zero, it's really the buzzword of the past 2 years, or maybe the past decade. And it's really come about because companies realize, one, they can't keep emitting so much, but two, it's going to be really hard to cut those emissions directly. So they need kind of creative solution. That 2050, that's going to be a magic year. We're going to have zero emissions by then with all these goals.
Write a goal. And well, there is truth. You can't get to a goal unless you write it, but writing it alone doesn't get you there.
Yeah, and that's part of it. Some say, and this is the more optimistic approach, it's a great way to spark that fire. It's a great way to start that discussion. Most people understand what you mean when you say net zero now, or most people understand the importance, the brevity of the climate crisis. And it's easier to tackle, it's easier to take smaller bites. You can't say, I'm going to fix climate change. I'm going to fix ocean acidification. I'm going to fix all the pollution problem. Maybe saying my company is going to reach net zero. This goal is pretty far out, but we're going to get there. And yeah, I mean, more than 130 governments, over 400 of the largest companies, they've all set these net zero targets for 2050. And that's great. But on the other hand, is it, a problem that people are going to rely on offsets and other measures, or they just delay the problem until 2050? But there's also not enough offsets out there for the world to rely on. And then some people say it's completely unachievable for our industry, which I disagree with. I think that great advancements are being made. There's a lot of work being done. Is it being done fast enough? Can it be done on the scale that we need? I know there's a lot of talk of green shipping and alternative fuel ship stuff. Well, converting an entire global fleet of ocean liners, going back to your question, is it a realistic goal for our industry? I would say it's an ambitious goal. Without them, we would just be continuing our status quo. So.
Right. Aimlessly going about. What's that quote from Einstein? I think necessity is the greatest. It's like the greatest push towards creativity, something like that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Like the need to change.
You need something. And so that spurs on the creativity to create something.
And it's always a good tech push. You always want people out there thinking innovatively and thinking of creative new solutions. Something could come out tomorrow that we've never even considered that could completely change the whole conversation.
Right. It could be a game changer. And we don't know what those are. And we don't know what those will be in 10 or 15 years. So even though we're starting down that path, at some point it can be some great innovations that will turn everybody towards that, make it a more achievable goal for everybody.
That's what a lot of people are banking on. They are banking on tech to evolve with the times and us to be able to sequester more carbon, or for it to be financially viable for us to pull carbon out of the atmosphere. But yeah, until that happens, sometimes you do need a ray of hope, and you do need these goals that people can try to achieve.
It reminds me of NASA, because when they were trying to go to the moon, they had so many things that they had the problems to solve and things that they had to build and create that had never existed before. I've read articles on how many of those things actually made it to full market and are part of our everyday lives now. But it was all because of this one goal to get to the moon.
Yeah. And like what's going to come out of this push? Yeah. The positive collaterals. But
exactly. It'll be interesting to see. Okay. So then my final question for you today is, how do you think sustainability should be implemented throughout an organization?
Well, April, I think there is a real balance. I think that some may argue you need a fully top-down approach. Everyone needs to be in line. But I think that you need that top-down approach, but there also needs to be engagement with every employee and comprehension at every employee level. The highest circles of leadership, they obviously need to understand and prioritize sustainability initiatives, and they need to be involved in a lot of the goal setting and understand the end game for the company, what's feasible for the company, but worker education and having your employees able to hold a conversation or understand what's the scope 3 emission, what's the challenge we're trying to tackle in our industry, not just at APLL, but anywhere. And I think that having that education extend throughout the company, it will help people change the whole mindset. If everyone's on the same page and everyone realizes how important it is to cut carbon emissions, or how important it is to recycle a plastic container, or even just starting an office compost bin, those initiatives and those efforts do not go unnoticed. And those efforts, no matter what people say, you can't discount them. So while you need that larger direction from CEOs and CFOs and COOs, you do need that grassroots push.
Right. You need the buy-in. You need buy-in from the people working every single day that are the face of your company for all the customers.
Just like you need your customers to buy what you're selling, you need your own employees to believe in your mission and to believe in your sustainability initiatives and believe that they can help make a difference, whether it's personally or whether it's being a part of this organization that is working to make some change.
Oh, absolutely. I'm change management. I love where you're going with that.
You love change, April.
I like change. I like to embrace change. I like to encourage others to embrace change, but they have to understand the why. And I think we just have to do a good job of telling the true story of why what they do matters and how they play a role and an important role in that. So I'll be tapping into you more on this.
April says that like she doesn't ask me to join her on calls every single day.
Oh, it's the joys of working here, growing from people around you.
I love that. I get to work with everyone at this company. I never dreamed that working in corporate sustainability would be so rewarding and so eye-opening, and it's a great job. I recommend to anyone looking for a career change or looking for some inspiration. I truly have loved my time at APLL, and I love everyone I work with, especially you, April.
Oh, what a nice positive show we've had today. Well, I'm so glad you joined us, and thank you, listeners, for joining us as well. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us today. If you like what you heard, or if you have any questions about today's episode, reach out to us at global_marketing@apllogistics.com. Make sure to subscribe to us on your favorite podcast apps. You will also find us on LinkedIn or visit us at apllogistics.com. We'll see you next time on the APLL Pulse podcast.